What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with the training update of Samson Dauda in the blistering heat of Kuwait. So the reason I am mentioning the climate here is because for the context, he went from UK where the temperatures are relatively low to a place where the temperature is almost double on most of the days. And that is gonna be the case all the way till almost mid-September, maybe even further than that. So the entire Olympia prep for Samson will be completed in this kind of weather. So cannot really believe that his back used to be such a weak body part just like 1.5 years ago. If you guys remember Nick Walker's statement that Samson's back is flat as a board, that was made before the Arnold 2023, where he got beat by Samson for the very first time. And that rematch between Samson and Nick, that is probably gonna be one of the biggest storylines going into this year's Mr. Olympia. Because all the bodybuilding fans have been waiting for this rematch for quite some time, because both these guys haven't stood next to each other in almost 1.5 years. So it is gonna be really interesting to see how the new versions of both these guys will do against each other. So Samson Dauda at 330 pounds in such a lean condition, that is something you almost never see, especially in this current age. Ronnie Coleman and Big Ramy were the only two guys who pushed their weight this far in the offseason. And Samson, as of right now, he is the heaviest guy in the pro league right now. So this is gonna be such an exciting year for Samson, especially after the way he showed up at this year's Arnold UK. That was the sharpest and the most conditioned version of Samson that we ever saw. And the judges actually really appreciated that. So Samson knows what kind of suffering he needs to go through in order to get truly peeled, in order to get into that next level of conditioning. So Milos, his former coach, said that as a coach he was unable to convince Samson to do more, to suffer more. But now that Samson also knows that himself, that what he needs to do in order to get into that next level of conditioning, I'm sure this time he's gonna show up a lot more sharper. And I truly believe that he is gonna bring it this year. But do let me know what you guys think. So talking about Nick Walker and Samson Dauda, next up we have an update from the mutant himself. It is so funny when you look at the expression of that lady behind him in this picture. And that is of course totally understandable. Nick Walker is a freak of nature, and any normal gym rat would be shocked to see the kind of size these guys carry. The freak factor these guys have, that is just inhuman. So Nick Walker is as confident as ever going into this year's Mr. Olympia. So the way his coach Matt Jensen talked about Hadi in that podcast with Dennis James at the Muscle and Fitness YouTube channel, it kind of felt like that these guys were more in doubt about beating Hadi rather than the champ Derek Lansford. Because Matt Jensen kept on saying that Hadi needs to come in off. Because the Hadi that we saw at this year's Arnold, especially the one in Olympus, where he won his first ever Arnold, that is the best bodybuilder on the planet right now. And I have to say, I'm sure all of us agree with that. And the thing is, Matt Jensen never said anything about Derek. So in their minds, Derek is more beatable than Hadi.
Specifically on Hadi, that Hadi that was at the Arnold, that in my opinion is the best bodybuilder in the world right now. And Nick agrees. Hadi has to be a little bit off.
So Nick Walker wasn't exactly at his best at this year's New York Pro, but that was good enough to win. And we all know at the end of the day, that is what matters. Now he himself knows, and also his coach knows, that he needs to be absolutely spot on for this upcoming Miss Olympia. Because with the structural limitations that Nick Walker has, in comparison to guys like Hadi, Derek Samson, Andrew Jack, even Brandon Curry, the margin of error for Nick Walker is absolutely zero. Next up, we have an update from Tim Visham about 2.5 weeks out of his next show, which is gonna be Van Pro. So Tim is posing with the German bodybuilding legend, Dennis Wolf. And Wolf's expression here says it all. We have never seen Tim look this good ever before in his career. Even in this prep, this is the best he has ever looked. Especially that back lat spread, that is looking absolutely fire. So maybe he can add more adductors, but that's for the offseason. But as of right now, with 2.5 weeks to go, he's looking really hot and really diced. So this is gonna be Tim's fourth show of the season. And hopefully this time he won't get overlooked. Hopefully this time he will get some love from the judges. Because that is the general idea about Tim Visham by the fans. But the thing with Tim Visham is that he isn't the biggest guy on the stage, nor he is the widest guy. He isn't as athletic as some of the other guys. He doesn't have a small waist. He doesn't have those flaring lats. So it is really difficult for him to stand out, especially in a lineup where we have the likes of Hakeem Williams as well as Quinton Beastwood, who both have amazing shapes and they are big as well. So I am looking forward to see him step on the Vancouver Pro stage, as Dennis Wolf seems to be the one helping him for this one. So what do you guys think? Does Tim has a chance of winning this show against the likes of John Jewett, Hassan Mustafa, Stanimal and Beef Stew? So Stanimal's update is next. So he signed up for Vancouver Pro way before anyone else did. And to anyone who thinks that he isn't a threat, just go back and see the top 3 comparison from Chicago Pro last year, where Stanimal placed 3rd. So he was the most right guy in that lineup, easily the most conditioned guy out there. He was in a better condition than both John De La Rosa and the winner, Justin Shire as well. He just did not have those beautiful lines like Justin Shire. So I believe any one of these guys could have won Chicago Pro. And this new version of Stanimal that we are seeing right now, that is just a bigger version of what we saw last year. So if Jay Cutler mentions your name in his podcast, and he admires your dedication to the sport of bodybuilding, you have got to believe that you must be doing something right. And Jay did give a shout out to Stanimal.
To give credit to like Stanimal, he's probably the most dedicated of anyone I've ever seen doing it. I know that work is doing tremendous releasing that fascia.
So since his last show, Stan has stayed in an unbelievable condition throughout this offseason, and I have mentioned that so many times, that the kind of condition that he had in the offseason, he could have stepped on any bodybuilding stage with roughly 4 to 5 weeks of prep. That is how lean he was. So I'm not really sure how he made that possible. But you look at any of his off-season pictures, and you will be surprised to see that kind of body composition. So I believe he is definitely going to be in the mix for this upcoming Van Pro in 2.5 weeks. Next up, we have the physique update of the 7x212 champ, Flex Lewis, during his first day of proper weight training, since his tricep tear roughly 8 or 9 weeks ago. So when he was asked, is there something different that he would have done when he was the winning champion in the 212? Flex's answer was that he wished he would have enjoyed more time and shared those moments with his fans a lot more than he actually did, because he was in a bubble chasing one title after another, and he was just so laser focused on that he was unable to enjoy those moments more. So 2018 was the first time he enjoyed his prep a lot more, and that turned out to be one of the best looks of his career. But at that time, even he himself did not know that that will become the last bodybuilding show of his career. So the other regret that not only just him, but all of us fans have, is that he should have jumped into the 2019 Mr. Olympia in the men's open class and tested his luck against the big boys. Because back in 2019, Hadi Chopin, Brandon Carey and William Bonac, these guys were the top 3. So that was arguably one of the weakest lineup in a while. And Flex Lewis did not really need any more size at that point to be more competitive against these guys, because he was already sucking down to the 212 pounds every single year to make that weight cut off. So he was just losing muscle at that point. So all he had to do was to come in more fuller, more rounder, and come in without losing any of his muscles. And I think that would have done really well. So that was his best shot in the men's open bodybuilding. But unfortunately, that did not happen. So what's next for Flex? I think he looked pretty damn good in those posing videos when Rafael Brandao was in prep for the Arnold Classic South America. And the thing is, after that tricep injury, he wasn't training or eating regularly. So building up to that point must be the initial goal. So let's see how long it takes for him to get back to that. And also hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video. And smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.